All right, guys, we're back for another episode of A Few Points from Perfect, and you're not Jason.
I am not.
I've traded in my co-host
Didn't Jason do this?
Well, yeah, you see how well this is working out.
It looks like it's working great.
This is like the third one in the row where I'm Jason. I guess I'm technically Jason, and, well, you can be Chris.
No, you just talk a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Talks a lot.
Yeah, every time I'm in his... Now, wait a minute. We have met somebody on this trip that will outdo me hands down.
I haven't found somebody that he doesn't like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We kind of felt sorry for strangers and had to rescue him at one point.
That one guy will never ask somebody to look at the turntable of his excavator because an hour later he was still there looking at it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He's we just got to get him to trained to be YouTube friendly, and he'll be YouTube gold.
He'll come around. He's like Jerry, so
yeah.
Of course, nobody knows what we're talking about.
Well, Jerry is hope. Jerry is hope. There's hope for him.
That's right.
So yeah. So for anybody that don't know, we got the one and only Chris LetsDig's with us, and Clint CNC Equipment, and hiding behind the cameras, his lovely wife that's giving us tax advice all afternoon. And
that's what she's good at.
Yeah. So, well, I guess it'll all play out at some point on YouTube, but Chris is in trouble. That's all I'm saying.
I am not in trouble.
I think
she just doesn't want to work with the...
We come to Florida down here to the auctions, and I'm not for sure, but I think me and you are working on spending more money than Clint's, but the good part is we're spending Clint's money.
Yeah, somebody stole my auction
It's
number.
great.
I may have gave it out.
I mean, you just said we're friends. We can do it.
I met this random guy, and a day later, he's using my auction number, buying dozers.
And it wasn't $40.
No.
Technically,
need some more zeros.
It's still your dozer.
Well, yeah, I guess technically it...
Till she sends you some paperwork.
I'm pretty sure I'll have that by 8
there's
a.m.
one thing I know, if there's one thing I know about doing business with CNC Equipment, they will send the paperwork.
You will get the paperwork.
I go down there and did you bring a check back? I'm like, no, I don't even have
Now,
any.
whatever, what was it? You were down there with something. Oh, whenever we
had a check for me, and I'm like, not even ready for
we
it.
traded out the two 850s, and I'm like, here, I'm going to write you a check. He's like, don't worry about it.
Make sure it's all right first.
Yeah.
I thought you only had one 850.
I do only have one 850.
Okay.
If Jenna's listening, if Jenna's not listening, I've had two. But if she's listening, I've only had one. But he comes back with the ripper. He's like, I got the invoice. You got a check? I'm like, yeah, sure. I got it this time. We're good. So.
Oh.
Gee, I need my paperwork when I come home.
All right. So, anyways, podcast a little bit. We want to catch up with Clint, and first off, I know everybody wants to know the rest of the story behind the 850 and all that good stuff. Well, first we got to figure out who Clint is.
I'm Clint.
Actually, you're not. You're Clinton.
That is true. I've got a lot of that lately.
I just discovered that today.
I may
It's
have.
all your fault,
I may have
I spent a
accidentally.
whole day riding around with your dad, didn't know his name.
I may have accidentally.
I was hoping at some point in time he would say it, and he didn't.
I may have accidentally renamed him.
What'd you name him?
No, you.
Oh, me.
He come down to work on putting the valve in the 850, and I'm like, Clint, I got a serious question. Like, have I been calling you by the wrong name the whole time? And
I've been getting that from everybody lately.
And his painter Kevin was with him, and he just starts busting out laughing. He's like, yeah.
Just so nice he won't tell you.
Yeah,
that
Clint's
it's
so
wrong.
nice a guy. He's not going to tell me. You don't even. Hey, call me by my name, dumbass.
I've been called worse. So.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, anyways, let's just go back a little bit. You grew up what? Nashville, Indiana.
Yeah, actually, Unionville. Pretty close.
No, I've been to
About-
Unionville. It competes with Derby for size.
I think we might. I don't know. We've got a school though.
Oh well.
Derby got a school.
Well, we did in the 1800s.
Well,
Does that count?
same
You got a
difference.
stop sign he doesn't stop at.
Oh God! When
I
did
get
you
that.
become sheriff?
You got those YouTube people too.
I can guarantee
Yeah, I
you
gotta make
every.
sure I stop at every stop sign.
I
That's why I
guarantee
don't
you
film
every-
anything driving, because evidently I don't stop all the
you know what?
way.
I've been getting good at editing. I'll cut that section out.
You sound like Wade now. I'm like, I don't have much stuff. I can guarantee you everybody that comments that has never drove a stick shift 18-wheeler that thinks they
Right.
can't roll through a damn stop sign.
Right.
I'm not. Hey, I actually got pulled over one night for going through the stop sign and not stopping, and me and that guy had to talk about how traffic flows in Derby.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out in my favor, actually. Anyways, we're getting way off. This is
Way
not
off
about
track.
me. See, We did the shop tour video up there, and they got mad at me. They kept cutting Clint off, and I talked too much.
You're good at it.
This is my New Year's resolution is to talk less.
Where's that mute button at?
Yeah, but
I need to talk for a second.
your dad's not a very good speech coach.
No.
All right. So, anyways, growing up, I mean, were you a good kid in school? Like, did you get straight A's? And
I was good. English probably wasn't my biggest suit. Probably like
I mean, you're going to
else.
find this hard to believe, but it wasn't mine.
I'm the hands-on type of guy. So I grew up working a lot, helping Dad. He had an excavating business since '72 or so, I think. So
Did you play any sports?
not really. I was out working.
Yeah, I know.
Same with me.
Didn't do much.
I
So.
was staring out the window.
So,
Go
ahead.
I learned a lot while I was young, so I don't regret what I did. So
Right.
for sure.
So the guy we keep talking about that talks a lot is your dad.
My dad, yeah.
He's
You guys probably seeing some videos now too. Down
So watch some videos. Yeah. Greg will
He's
be
the
in
guy
there.
hopping on equipment. We can't get. The
We're
cameras
trying to
turned
get
on
the
quick
camera
enough,
on turned to quick,
and he's firing it up.
and he's like, "Watch this!
there will
Get
never
the screwdriver."
there will never be a cold start video with Greg because it'll done be started by the time the GoPro comes on.
He'll try his
He
damnedest.
does not have the 3 seconds to wait for the flashy light. It is go time.
You better turn the camera on if you're that.
Yeah, if you see him walking, you better start clicking because that's the only way you're going to get it.
So what happened today? There was this random excavator that showed up, and you just like turn around. It's just like hucklebucking across the auction.
We're getting way off. This is how it's all podcast. We get way off track. But there's like, 300 people there today?
Yeah.
And like, I'm scared to death I'm going to get smashed like a bug because there's people just swinging buckets around and all kinds of stuff. And I just happened to turn around. They brought in this, I'm going to call it the Lion King excavator.
The
China excavator. I look over and the bucket's flapping and it's attracting. And I'm like, who the hell is the damn crazy ass in that? Wait a minute. I think I know him.
It's something new. He's never been on that brand. So
I said, "You ever seen one of these before?" He's like, "Nope."
you see the video popped out today.
This is the podcast. You can say what he said.
He got on a D70, the electric dozer. Never been on one of those. He didn't have good things to say about it. So it's on video. Popped out today.
Clint will not be
He's old
sponsored
school.
by Caterpillar.
I said, you got to give it a day. He's old school. You can't change him. So
If we ever got him and Jerry together, we really would be in trouble.
they'd work well together. I can tell you that.
I don't know if they'd work. I think they would just talk the whole time.
For sure.
Then you give them two-way radios, and they'd both be going, huh?
They just scream at each other. That's how they do it.
So anyways, growing up, your dad had a very successful excavating business.
He started out small, when I was young, it kind of reminded me what you're doing, but doing septic systems, traveling residential stuff, and he got hooked up with some bigger people, Bender Lumber, and actually the guy that started the Pizza Huts, and we was traveling all over doing Pizza Huts in the 80s and stuff, and started doing a lot of subdivisions, got more equipment, bigger stuff, so we had 30-some pieces there at the end, it's taken care of and running. And
so 30-something pieces. I mean, I technically got like 25, but I mean, I don't like run like a 25-piece excavating company. I just like collecting equipment. And
Right.
I'd never make it in your business because I have a hard time selling equipment, but that's a pretty good size operation.
Yeah, we never run a lot of guys, but very efficient. We run 6-7 guys in the summertime, but
Right.
very efficient. Me or him would always be on the jobs getting stuff done, and we'd get as much done as a big company would have 20 guys on the job. So
Right.
All about being efficient there.
Right.
You got to have all that equipment, even though you're not using every piece every day.
right,
That's what people
we
don't
did
understand.
we did all the dirt work and parked that equipment, got on the pipe equipment, laid the pipe, and
That's one thing I talk about quite a bit with what I do. Some guys want to go out and buy the biggest, prettiest, most expensive excavator out there, and that's all they can afford. Where I'm like, I'll take a cheap, wore out one,
right.
and then I can go buy 2 or 3 other pieces of equipment, and whenever I'm not using it that day, it can afford to sit for a little
You
bit.
just need to know how wore out you need to go.
Yeah, there is some limits.
My dad
there.
started from scratch with nothing, and that's we work through summertime. 2 or 3 months in the winter, we'd work on the old stuff. So he'd buy a new piece every 2 or 3, 4 years or something like that. But
He can tell you exactly how much every
He
new
can,
piece
to the
cost
penny,
through
to the
the
penny.
80s, 90s,
To
and
the
I
penny.
guess I started 70s, 80s, and 90s.
I know how much a 1984 D6 costs, Brandon.
Is that before or after tax?
Why did he end up with the TD15? Was it cheaper, or he decided it was better? Had like 5 more horsepower or something, wasn't it?
yeah, I think they gave him better trade in. He had a 175 track loader, but a lot of the people around home had the international
It's
equipment.
called a high lift.
Track loader. I live.
Depends on what part of the country you're from.
Depends on who's telling the story.
That's kind of like the motor and engine debate I got going on my channel.
Oh, yeah. Do you ever get people that like, what do you call it, an excavator or a traco?
Excavator.
So we call them
Either
tracos.
You call it something else, but you get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get banned from Instagram.
You can call it a track, but the hoe better be attached.
You know, they call a backhoe a backhoe. You think a traco would be a swing hoe.
Yeah.
You know, a swinging hoe.
Or, I mean, if it's a toter or if it's a TV, it's just a front end loader.
Oh, man. It's crazy what, we could, that's a whole nother conversation. This is supposed to be about Clint, Chris. we keep getting sidetracked. That's
what it is.
That's pretty normal for this podcast, though. All right. So, I guess by the time you get out of high school, this construction company is going pretty strong.
He was in the 90s. It was real big. In 2001, it kind of slowed down there for a little bit. You know, when
Is it rude to ask what year you graduated?
99.
99. Mm-hmm. So we're the same age then.
Did you graduate in 99?
Well, I should have, but I liked first grade so much I took it twice.
You're one of those kids. That's all making sense now.
It wasn't because I couldn't spell first grade. It's because I had asthma and I had spent some time in the hospital.
I actually graduated midterm, and I think I may have missed like 21 days my senior year.
Really?
But I was out working.
See, I
one
used
of those days, you know.
I was horrible at English, and then I found
I had to take that at night school to graduate. Right?
Yeah, and then I found out that if I took drama class, it counted as an English credit. So yes, I played a dog in a play. I played a dog in a play to get out of
Your
senior
mom
English.
was proud, wasn't she?
Well, Mom come to the play. I don't think Dad did. I think he was too embarrassed.
That's my boy.
But by golly, I got my senior English credit. I didn't
That's
have to.
all you need.
I didn't have to write no book reports. I didn't have to do anything.
That's all you need.
I was good to go. So, did you get out of high school and pretty much just went full time into the excavating business?
Yeah, I was doing it before that, but every summer, and I mean, he had me out for hire when I was 11, 12 years old. I mean, I was loading a dump truck with a backhoe by myself when I was 5 or 6. So I grew up into stuff. So
was the plan to kind of take that business over from him?
That was kind of the plan. Yeah. It's things change gears, but if you ask me if I'd be where I am today, 5, 10 years ago, it's crazy.
Well, if you would have asked me 4 years ago if I'd be doing YouTube, I said, what's that?
Yeah, probably 6 months ago if you'd asked me that.
Coming from the guy that already had 2 videos with over 1 million views.
Right?
I like...
I was just trying to sell equipment.
Well, yeah, after I bought the first Dozer, we'll just get into that later. His channel randomly gets suggested to me. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Clint's got what? He's got 2.4 million. What? Like what?
It's crazy.
Anyway, so basically, you're out of high school now. You're working with your dad. That's plugging along. So how was that going? And obviously, somewhere in there, you kind of veered off in a different path.
Yeah, I think 2004, me and him started CNC equipment. Basically, it's just so we could buy equipment. We was just flipping. It probably wasn't 3 or 4 pieces a year, just so we could buy it tax free and sell it and all that stuff. So
CNC equipment is the excavating company was it Chitwood?
Chitwood Excavating. Yeah.
And then so you started a whole separate.
Yeah, separate, so we could keep track of that. 06.
So chiming in the back is Clint's wife, Bridget, which she works with you. She's part of the part of the company.
There's a lot of it.
Well, we found out though. she's not big fans of the way we like to do business. No. Sales tax.
Shady
We're like,
people.
I've never heard of it. This is something new. So, you guys are married then, right?
Yeah.
So
since 05.
Since 05. So if you started in 06, you were a year into marriage. See, I'm good at math.
We was. Well, I think the first year it was me and Dad. That's where the CNC come from. And he was basically putting the money out, and I was selling the stuff, and we was splitting it for about the first year, maybe a year and a half or so.
So you were he was kind of basically bankrolling it.
And we was just buying 4 or 5 Dozers a year, maybe some trucks and stuff. And then,
see, I thought CNC equipment was Clint Chitwood CNC. But
some random name we come up with. It wasn't the greatest name ever because there's like 2 or 3 other companies in Tennessee. We'll get people that show up in Tennessee like, yeah, we're at CNC equipment. We don't see no Army trucks. I think there's another one down in Alabama or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I've already noticed since I've been doing YouTube, there's been at least 2 other Dirt Perfects show up.
Yeah.
One in Michigan and one in Georgia.
There's quite a few LetsDigs.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, you got,
There's
he's got like LetsDig18, LetsDig20.
I think we got 1 to 50. And a couple of them use the same profile image.
And there's another one in Canada too, so it's a popular name, I guess.
CNC equipment. So what was the driving factor behind starting to do this? Just something to do in the wintertime when it was slow, or did the excavating slow down? Or
It didn't really slow down. It was still going hard up till, 2008 or so. Mm-hmm. Everything slowed down. It's not that we couldn't have been working. Everything's paid for, always was, but everybody was out there trying to keep, their guys busy and just making payments, and they're out there working for nothing. So,
doing what they had to survive.
right. I think I was buying and selling dozers and stuff on the side. Always done that, and pickup trucks and stuff. But I started selling on eBay about then too. I think 2006. But
eBay's my nasty habit. I bought a lot of
that's how
equipment.
I got eBay. Is what really made me, because I have no location. The old shop was plumb off the road, so you didn't see nothing. But that's what really got me going big. So 08, I bought an Army truck, or 07, one little Army truck for $900, and I brought it home, and I had a dozer for sale. A guy bought the dozer. He said, "I need something to pull my dozer with." I said, "Well, I just drove this truck home." I bought this truck.
How convenient.
I bought this truck, and it had no heater, no windshield wipers. Old Deuce now is what it was, M35. Drove it home in the ice, freeze. I had Arctic Carhartts on and everything else.
Hold that thought for
Sounds
just
like
a second.
Unimog.
Don't forget that thought. But if we take Clint's bid number and buy us a semi and a lowboy tomorrow, do we still have to pay sales tax? Oh, man. All right, go ahead.
So I bought that truck, and
tags, so that, can we offset something?
this guy needs a truck to pull his dozer with. So I said, I just drove his truck in, so I ended up selling it, flipping it for quite a bit more than what I paid for it. So I went and bought.
14 years later, he still won't say how much profit, so he don't look like he's screwed down.
I bought this truck for $900, and I think I sold it for $4,500. I literally just drove it home. This is when stuff was cheap, and nobody was looking on the internet for government stuff. And I didn't have much money then, so I went back out and bought, I think, 14 trucks. The day, I bought them like 2 weeks before, but they all cleared the day after he was born. And here I've got 14 trucks to get out in like 3 days. So
You went from
I left
one
her
to,
in the hospital.
so you went from 1 to 14. You're just jumping in.
14 was only $25,000 or something.
Only $25,000.
Well, then I just took that and just kept rolling it. I was bringing these trucks home and, flipping them, and it just turned into a monster. Then I started stocking parts for them because I need all these parts, and snowballed from there. So.
I wish the camera could
Yeah.
see Bridget's face right now, because if looks
I
would
It was
literally-
kill,
only that simple,
I left her the day after he was born.
the look on her face is
This would
he
have
is
been in
not telling
2008.
the full story. There is a lot left out here.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I'm just reliving it in the hospital. Abandoned.
I'm like, your mom's here. It's fine.
It's not fine. It's our second born.
But
You got plenty of practice with the first one.
Dad told me I was an idiot for buying the first truck, pretty much, and he told me I was really an idiot for buying 14 more.
But that's motivation, though.
That is, if I'd listened to, he's gave me a lot of good advice, but if I'd listened to everything, I probably wouldn't be where he's at. So. I had another guy that was working for him that would help me too, and he told me I was an idiot for buying these trucks.
gonna do
Probably
with all
over
these
1,000
trucks?
later, here we are. So at least that's hard to tell.
So this was 2007, 8ish.
8, yeah.
So was that really where it kind of started? That was where you had your first success, was with the Army trucks.
Yeah, we kind of quit doing the dirt work for everybody around 2011, so I was still doing both. So it was a lot of work.
That's not because you the work wasn't there. You guys, I mean, your dad was getting to retirement age at that time, right?
He was, and had a lot of other things going on too. So he made a lot of good money in the 90s and 2000s, 80s. So it was good in the 90s. You couldn't screw up moving dirt, and he could go out and get whatever job he wanted to. It was just pick your job. And it's not like you're bidding 10 jobs to get one. So it was a little different back then. Now everybody's doing it.
So back then, were you focused on government surplus, or it was just whatever you could find?
Kind of whatever. Back then, it was mainly more government stuff, and I just used the equipment for filling stuff. So the government stuff is so sporadic. Like right now, we're not getting anything, and tomorrow there may be 50 dozers dump out, and you've got to buy all 50 of them. You may not see them for another 2 years. It's just the way it is. So,
is there any heads up on like when they're going to?
There's not. You get a couple weeks maybe, but
really,
yeah, it's. And I was very versatile. You know, '08 hit and things were slowing down. I started building all these custom trucks. You know, I was building crew cab trucks and bob trucks, taking the axle out of them, and doing stuff different than what everybody else was doing. So there's not a handful of people that was doing what I was doing across the country.
So, I mean, like as far as your mechanical ability, I mean, anybody that watches your channel obviously knows you're pretty damn handy. I mean, is that all self-taught?
Learned it a lot from Dad and people working for him, and you know, he's out there, and you know, I remember as a kid, he's out there rebuilding the motors in the 175 track loader. We want to call it, or high lift, or, you know, out here at 9 o'clock at night under a tree. You know, I'm out here helping him, and you know, I just grew up around.
You're
it,
shining the light where you can see it, getting yelled at.
Exactly, exactly. You know, handing them tools and wrenches, but I grew up around it. You know, you have a knack for it too. It's
they're. I mean, I think anybody could probably learn it if they wanted to, but some people just naturally think that way.
Right. Yeah, for sure. The same way with operating and everything else. So you can tell whether somebody's got it or not. So
yep.
According to your dad, I do not have it. Did you watch the last
operator?
Did you watch the last video?
No, I heard it. I heard it several times.
I just want my jump box back.
I was trying to make sure nobody got ran over.
Did you see the comment I put? You're just going to town with that thing, and he's just like, I want my jump box back. You're like pulling it, and the battery's coming out, and your dad just goes, wham!
If you seen the amount of fuel that come out of the exhaust of this thing that got rained on by me, I was just making sure I had a fuel shut off if this thing decided to run away.
I already scoped that part out.
And you forgot to relay the message.
It was nice seeing you struggle.
I want my jump box back.
Because for the record, if
How many times did I say that?
About 4, I think. You finally get it back after like the 5 minute operator my ass.
Oh.
We watched that video last night. If you guys want to know what we're talking about, on Chris's channel, you got a short video. What was that, a 544?
644C.
644, yeah.
What was the title on it, you remember?
Should have been Old Smoky.
Will it start?
644C, will it start?
I'm pretty sure you knocked 2 or 3 years off Mike's life.
Yeah.
Or Mike on his own life.
I told my wife I was a non-smoker. After that one, I'm not for sure. Boy, that thing started up. The wind was, well, first off,
I'm pretty sure Dad made a comment about the smoke blowing in your face.
No, that was the ether. When you sprayed, he's like, it's going to blow back in your face.
The wind's going the wrong way. I can't reach the starter button and the ether at the same time.
Watching you do it, though.
Yeah,
You
and
complain a lot.
there was 4 people there. Is anybody helping me? No.
I was holding the jump box.
Yeah,
I couldn't get back.
I was filming, you know, from a safe distance.
So after I inhaled the ether, fuel come out of the exhaust, and I drank that pretty
Fuel
sure.
doesn't come out the
It did on
I
that
think
one.
that was water.
It was soot.
How do you know? You guys taste it? Because I did.
We had a good time watching you.
Oh, I noticed. So, what were we even talking about? See, this is what happens on these podcasts. We get completely. Oh, you said sometimes you can just notice like an operator or mechanic's got it, and
You
obviously,
can tell in 15 minutes. You guys have.
It's going to work or it ain't.
I was telling Clint the story. I said, "You remember?" I said, "You know what your first words your dad ever said to me?" He goes, "It's hard telling."
He has no filter.
So, whenever we had all the issues with the 850, and Clint come down I can't remember if you were picking it up or dropping it off.
I think I was picking it up.
Yeah, so obviously it wasn't a good time. First, well, the internet don't know about 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They just know.
I think it may have been the second time because I already knew where I was going this time.
So this was the job when we had the dam slide out, and I think whenever you guys were there, we pretty much had it all dug out. And your dad walks over. I didn't know who he was. First time I ever seen him in my life. He walked over and looked over the edge and comes back. He goes, "I sure you hope you know what the hell you're doing, boy." Nice to meet you. But anyway, so yeah, mechanical ability. So you just kind of picked it up along the way. I mean, you didn't go to any formal school for it or anything like that.
No, I mean, really, I was operating most of the time. The thing, we'd have 6 guys out there running. Something broke down. I was jumping off mine and fixing it, and the other guy would jump on, whatever I was running. And
well, I think there's you you employ people. I've employed people over time. And in certain instances, as far as mechanicing and operating, I would almost rather employ somebody with experience than I would education.
Oh, for sure. You can't replace on-the-job
knowledge.
Classroom.
Well, and you can't buy it either.
No.
I mean, you have to earn it.
You can sit in a classroom all you want and read books and until you get out in the real world.
There's one thing all classrooms have in common, and they're based around a perfect world. And that's one thing we do not live in is a perfect world.
Nice new equipment.
Fixing the non-perfect.
Yeah, I mean that's how we make our living. Honestly, is being able to make those calls, whether it's mechanicing on something or excavating on something,
right?
And going forward. So I guess where we at now? 2011ish. The excavating company is rolling down, and the buying, selling, and trading is ramping up.
Yeah, I think Jay may come on about that time, 2010.
So we need to explain who Jay is because he'll come into play later.
So
in this
I was just a one-man show. I had one guy that would help me. I'm selling parts on eBay. I probably got 350, 400 items now. So I'm waking up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning printing off shipping labels, so we can package stuff up for the first hour of the day. Then working in the shop, and phones getting out of control at this point.
And we should also point out this was not the shop facility you're in now.
No, it was the old shop. It's actually the excavating shop. So it was 50 by 72, I think.
So since
we had no flat ground where we was at, though. Look, I had hillsides terraced off. Back then, I'd have 100 trucks or so stacked in, hillside terraced in. So
I might know something about the hillsides. You've been to my shop.
Yeah, that's exactly what we had it though, and half of it was the ridge wasn't 20 foot wide, and all these terraces and stuff that's been hauled in from jobs over the years, that kind of stuff.
So I mean, I'm just trying to picture this. You now have 100 trucks at this shop, and you're still married. So
that's the problem. Our house is, all the trucks that come in go past our house. So. Yeah, for sure.
So there's a reason why at my house there's no windows facing that direction.
Well, it sucks. You're sitting there at night at 6 o'clock and you think you're done, and here comes this truck driver in wanting to get loaded, or he's going to sit there all night. And I'm like, really? I'm like over it. So
yeah. Or some guy comes to pick up a lowboy trailer at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
I think I'd learned my lesson.
You should have. So
yeah, I think about 2011, Jay come to work or so.
Now Jay's no relation.
No, I grew up with him in school. I think he's a year younger than me. He just had a birthday.
So you guys known each other your whole life?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, he grew up here locally. So
and
there was a lot of trust involved in. He worked at Yamaha, a Yamaha dealership as salesman. So for about 10 years before that. But
so what do you call Jay's title with what you do now?
He's probably head over the sales and stuff. So that was the problem. The phone was getting out of control and dealing with people. It's not that I didn't like talking to people.
Yeah, but it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, you get focused on something, and
then if you're talking to somebody about
people just want to call and talk about, and that's fine and dandy, but you just don't have enough time for it all.
Yeah,
but they may come back, they may talk to, hey, this guy, may come back and buy something from you.
You only get that one time to make that first impression,
right,
too.
That's exactly right.
So Jay's been with you since 2011. He took over phone duties and selling.
Phone sales, yeah.
I'm sure he was helping with post and
shipping
stuff.
and stuff, yeah. So I'm out in the shop and running around buying stuff, and it's a.
And if people watch your videos, well, first off, the few times I've dealt with CNC, and I should mention that I guess the first time we really crossed paths was about 7 years ago. You guys bought a 650H Dozer that I was interested. Yep. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was the Dozer I was planning on buying, and I ended up buying my D4 instead, and dealt with Jay back then. And I've called up there and talked to Jay a few times about some different things over the years, and Jay was the salesman on the first 850 Dozer. I mean, Jay's a good guy. You're lucky to have him.
I can't be there for everything. That's
yeah. Jay's a good guy. You're
he is. He's good on the phone. So good with people. He's level headed, and I'll get hot headed every once in a while. So.
Keep it real.
I can only handle so much. So
yeah.
That's another story.
That damn Simon.
Yeah. Hey, in full disclosure, whenever I showed up there, Jay asked me what I did for a living, and I said, "You too." So
he's like, he comes out here,
and I'm pretty sure.
This guy does. I'm like, there's no way.
I'm pretty sure he horse laughed me like, "Yeah, right." So, all right, we're getting ahead of ourselves again. I'm bad about this. So, 2011, Jay's on board now. You got 100 trucks in the backyard. Wife's getting ready to kill you. Jay's got to save the marriage. He's now marriage counselor selling trucks.
We're building custom trucks and rolling pretty hard for till 20. I mean, we've been going. Every year's been better than the last, but it's starting to get out of control. About 2015 or so.
And are you pretty much focusing on these surplus trucks?
We're starting to do a lot more equipment then. I've been coming down here to Florida for 14 years now, so I was always buying, equipment on the side, so. Paying tax on every single one of them. Because I couldn't get a dealer's license at old shop location, so.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to join us? Okay. No, you're fine. I'm just asking.
They're wondering where this random voice is kind of coming from.
I feel like it'd be a lot more colorful if we had the other side.
Yeah.
Because I think as Paul Harvey would say, we get the rest of the story.
Right? Maybe next time.
No, you're perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine. So what? I guess the trucks is just because that's where the money was at. That's what was available, or
it's what was surplusing out. So, and we got it selling the Unimogs a lot too. I was traveling buying those, and that was something. I'm always into something. If you got to be doing something different if you want to be different, what everybody else is doing. So.
I need you to help me clear something up real quick because I'm building this. I don't know if you've heard, but I've got this project called Lieutenant Dan.
How many years has that been going on?
Clint, you cannot be a real life commenter right now.
You know how many comments I've got?
How many more years it'll be going on?
You know how many people want that truck to be at my shop so to get finished? How many comments I've got?
Is it back in the garage or is it in the...
It's still in storage.
Storage.
Well,
storage.
Everybody hoped it went to my shop.
No. Will you please explain that not all Army trucks are the same?
They are not.
Because
what?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it? Because everybody that sees an Army truck, they're like, I'm like,
it.
Like I looked long and hard for Lieutenant Dan because it is not your average Army truck.
It's a pretty rare one, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Hard to find.
Goodness, and it's not the same truck he had.
Thank
and I've built more than one dump truck.
Yeah, so. Just because it's an Army truck doesn't mean they're all the same. There's a lot of different ones. So, I mean, everybody, I don't want to get off too far on this, but everybody wants me to get Lieutenant Dan done. I don't want it to be done because I don't have nothing to work on.
It's
I got to find a new project.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so. And
there's auctions down here. You can get more stuff to work on.
I know there's a dump truck for sale. Camper? Yeah, there's a camper. That's all.
I thought you were staying out of this.
You need to go another room.
So here, do you get more comments about you need to finish Lieutenant Dan, or you need to finish?
It's more on the camper.
More on the camper, yeah.
They named it too.
Please don't take this the wrong way, but I don't think I'm going to be able to afford.
Perfect camper is what it's called.
I don't think I'm going to be able to afford the perfect camper.
For us to name stuff now, and
yeah, my big forklifts got it. I think we called it Big Mo one time, or Kevin did. So now it's its name. Everybody's calling it Big Mo.
Every once in a while, I'll get somebody that will get on the channel and they'll just go off about Lieutenant Dan and how that name's wrong, and I'm robbing it from Forrest Gump and all this stuff. I'm like, thanks, it's a tribute to my late dad.
That's awful.
But it's the truth. And I'm like, I say it funny but serious all at the same time. But it's like sometimes it's like I just want to like plant that seed that maybe you should think or ask a question before you have an opinion or talk a little bit. So
right.
Anyways, so yeah, the Lieutenant Dan project. But you're rolling on these dump trucks. You're building them. That's what's surplus.
Dump trucks, Unimogs out, doing some yellow equipment and a little bit of everything. So, and then it starts getting out of control. So
this is out of control in a good way.
It is, and I think I bought that property where the new shop's at this time. I bought it when we was in Florida, actually.
Really?
That land had been for sale forever, and it was a poor piece of ground, but it was zoned commercial, so.
And it was in the
close to home.
It was in the right county.
Yeah, and it wasn't in the other county, so.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to say.
No, I understand, but
that was the reason, another reason why I moved out of there too, so they were giving me trouble, so.
Yeah, which is a shame.
My dad's been paying. So the shop I was working at was actually my dad's. So, and even though that was all residential, he'd been paying commercial taxes on that 1 acre of ground there since the 80s. But yet,
it was a problem now.
Yeah, that's just.
Was it the 100 trucks that was there?
He's had a business there since he moved out there in '73, but supposedly he's not grandfathered in because it's a different name. I don't know.
Did you tell him you know your rights?
We went in there and fought. You can't fight with that county.
Yeah, I know in the county.
Did you let Greg tell him that?
Oh, me and him went in there. I even had, it was so bad I had my phone stuck in there videotaping. I was like, it's going to go.
That could be the next viral video. You still got to.
I don't think so.
You still
I'm like, it's going to go bad. So.
Do you still have this? So that I guess all those factors combined was the driving factor for the new shop.
It was. We was outgrowing. Years of living at the shop. It basically it's just getting out of control. So
And
about that was what 12 acres, I think. 15.
Wow.
But it was basically a swamp, right?
It was. So I bought equipment to fix it all up. Bought a big TD25C military tractor, put wide pads on it. It was a swamp. It'd been sitting for sale for, I don't know how many years, probably 10 years or so. But spent a long time. We dug a lot of dirt out, raised it up 4 or 5 foot 'cause it was in the edge of a floodplain. Actually, where the attachments are was an old fire station. And it flooded out in that flood of 2008, I think. And I don't know if you guys got that flood.
Our big flood was 2011, but
It may have been 11. Yeah, it was 2008. So anyway, I raised that all up above all that. And, we had 26 semi-loads of fly ash brought in, had it all tilled in and stabilized 3 different times and put 100,000 tons of stone down, or 10,000 tons, I guess. It was $100,000. That was the number. It was a lot of stone.
100,000 in there somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
It all comes down to how much it cost.
Yeah. And that was a big. You built the 2 buildings up there, so it's nice. We got plenty of room and everything. So.
Well, yeah, and I know you've done an equipment or did a property tour or shop tour video on your channel, and then I did one on mine as well.
A better one.
Might have included the whole facility.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad that day because I'm pretty sure I was the guy that showed up right at quitting time because we were running late getting out of Indianapolis.
You're always late, especially on Saturdays, picking up trailers.
Well, I was on time.
Do you know who he is?
I've learned it now.
So, anyways,
Gates dummy lock, just get it.
Yeah.
She'll send you the paperwork.
Yeah, with all the taxes on there. But you guys, I don't know if the camera does. Like everybody that comes to visit my shop, and you included, the first thing you do is you walk through the door and you're like, "Wow, this is way smaller than it looks on camera."
Right.
I think your shop and your facility is the opposite.
Yeah, we've got like 7-8 acres.
Yeah,
gravel.
your place looks way smaller on camera than what it really is. Because your warehouse is twice the size of my shop, 8 times the size of my shop. What is the warehouse?
It's 50 by 120 or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my shop's only 40 by 44. So, yeah. That goes into comparison. It's I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a pretty good size operation because, just roughly what percentage of the business is parts and Jeep sales? And
I honestly don't know the numbers anymore. It's a bunch.
Yeah,
when I first got into parts, I was a 2-man operation. I was happy just to sell enough parts to pay for my employee I had. So right. I know it's way past that now. So I'm like, this would be nice. I don't have to pay my employees. So
now his employee works 72 hours a week, and
now I got 2 of them taking care of the parts. So
wow.
No, it's a big number. I just look at the whole number at the end of the day.
Well, I guess my point of that conversation is you guys. The parts are a big part of the business, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
They are. There's good money in the parts, too. So
it's just you got to hold on to them until somebody needs them.
Right. And when I first started out, a lot of people don't actually stock parts. I always stock parts. I control my inventory. People that just drop ship stuff from places, and we still do that some, but 90% of the stuff I sell is sitting on the shelf. So besides the undercarriage stuff, we keep some stuff in stock.
So once you got the new shop built, did this open new doors of the business as far as being able to move more stuff?
It did. Even though we'd been there, people knew of us, but they didn't realize what exactly was going on. So we got a lot of loggers started coming in and that kind of stuff.
As time went on, you're in a pretty secluded location.
Right.
Even though you're on a state highway, it's pretty secluded. Right. But as time went on, the internet became more and more popular.
If it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't be where I was at. So
right. So what today your wife works with you there. Was she with you the whole time, or did
Yep.
she?
Taking care of it from day one, paperwork and helping out.
And then Jay come on.
Yeah, Jay always had like one guy that helped me. It was just two of us in the shop. I think I may have had about 3 guys at the time we moved, probably.
So what? I'd say we got what, 5 or 7 guys now.
Yeah, there's what?
9 total employees.
There's about 6 of us at the shop all the time.
I like how every time I ask a question,
He's
he just
gotta
looks at
look
her.
at her.
I don't know.
He's like, I just work in the shop.
We got 9. Oh, yeah.
There's usually about 4 of us in the shop, and there's 2 in the office, and me and her. So
Gotcha.
And the clean lady.
And the cleaning lady,
Most
yeah, the cleaning
important.
service. I don't have a cleaning service at my house. If you guys watch Mrs. Dirt Perfect videos, it's very
I
clear.
seen a 5-minute video of it. I think.
That was for show.
You didn't take the leaf blower in the house, did you?
Oh, that's an idea.
That's why you can use the electric one.
Yeah, I got a couple of those.
I wouldn't do that.
I would. The question is, do we film it or not? Because I may be filming my own death.
You will. You better dig a hole first.
I'm good at that.
I can't hear you.
Unless you ask your dad, then I'm not. So I get the new shop, new opportunities, just allowed you to grow in every direction.
Yeah, it is. You're pretty much unleashed over there. So it's away from home. It's separated. 10 minutes. It's nice. It's close enough. It's still convenient, but
Right.
Separate the home.
the best thing I ever did
work.
was separating it. So
What year did you get the new shop completed?
16. I bought the property in 15. Moved to dirt. We didn't wait until August, of course, till it was the driest part of the year. Then it freaking rained that whole month.
Right.
Just my luck. I had a 6-inch pump running
Oh, my God.
for 2 months. That whole,
Dewatering.
yeah. You dig down 4 foot and it's just natural water table there. It's a swamp, so.
Which is crazy because it is like super
It's-
nice now.
Yeah. The first thing, Dad
Ain't nothing like a 6-foot lift.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bridge
first thing
right
we done,
across
we
it.
dug a big ditch all the way around. Everybody's like, "What are you doing?" We're just pulling the water down, so
Yeah.
you got to. It was different ground. What we
I'm
used
not
to
sure
work
that's
there.
how your dad would explain it, but yeah, that's
Everybody. It was funny. We'd be out there working. And
over here
it was just me- it was just-
draining Lake Lemon over here.
It was just me and him out there working, so people would just randomly stop by because we're in the middle of nowhere in here. We've got all this equipment. There's 12 acres of dirt tore up, and everybody's, "What's going on?" He said, "We're putting in a Walmart." Every person that stopped by, I'm like, "You got to quit saying that." It is funny. He's always got something coming out of his mouth.
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. We may have to. Once you get him YouTube trained, we'll have to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, well,
It'd be interesting for sure. So
get the filter there.
you have to get you a bleep button.
Yeah, I don't know if I got several. I'm not even going to push those buttons. I don't know what they do. So basically, from 2016, everything's hunky dory, moving right along, doing good.
Yeah, we're growing and expanding. We started selling undercarriage. We started that at the old shop, so from ITR, and got into Jeep stuff.
Yeah, so that was going to be one of my next questions. Is like, how in the world did you start getting into the parts importing business?
I'd been importing Army truck parts. Where I was buying them from the suppliers, they were basically a middleman. They were just importing them. And I think a couple of them companies reached out to me, and, I'm cutting the middleman out and, getting 75, 100% markup and stuff. So I'm cutting that guy out. So started doing that. And then the Jeep people kind of reached out to me, and I seen an opportunity, so jumped on it. And
Right, because that's kind of turned into, I'd say maybe
whenever
a
you
little.
can cut the middleman out, it's a lot better deal.
So I'm trying to figure out how we can get this Dozer cheaper today. Who's the middleman in
I
your
know.
deal?
Cheaper.
We kind of need the middleman, don't we?
The middleman's not making any money here.
I think we're at that
I
point
got
now.
too many friends now. That's
Now
my
the
problem.
middleman ain't making no money. The government ain't making no money.
Yeah. So.
This is farm use.
Yeah, it's getting real shaky.
Does the
Get
deal?
the people come in with their farm
They sell
use.
those orange triangles
Yes.
in Florida somewhere. We're going to have to take one from somewhere. We're going to drive this thing home. Afraid what?
I just bought a farm back home. I don't know if anybody even knows that. The first thing I did.
Farm use.
The first thing I did whenever I bought the farm and closed on it, I think the first person I texted was Officer Hoover and said, "I'm getting some farm plates."
Yeah.
So everything's clicking along. Business is good. No faux pas whatsoever. And then one day this jackass shows up and buys a Dozer.
Yeah, changed my life.
So we got
Dear diary.
we got to talk about. We're going to call it the Dozer incident.
That was a year ago this time when all that was going down.
Yeah.
Little did I know I was down here and had somebody working on my stuff. And
All I had to do was change the air filter.
So I get questions. So let's cover this really well because we both get all kinds of comments and everything about it. So I want to give Clint a fair shake to tell his side of the story on all this. So basically, one thing I want to mention before is I've been up. I've seen you guys. I know what you do. Everything was always like you don't literally you do not sell junk. I mean everything.
I mean, you guys see me at auctions. I see something that's half shady. I'm not even going to touch it.
Right.
Because I know somebody's going to give full price for it because they don't know what's going on.
Right.
It's not something I can buy and fix up.
Walk right past it. And
so I knew I had a bunch of work coming up, and the old 850B was getting tired, and I kept an eye on his website up there, and I've watched a couple other places, and he had one up there that had 7,000, almost 8,000 hours on it, and it was the R's. Why can't I not talk?
Words,
they're hard.
We didn't do English.
Yeah.
Drama.
Yeah.
you told that teaching
I
lady
need to be dramatic
you were
about
be
this.
An operator.
I'm going to move me some dirt. But it put it in my price range, I'll be honest. And I probably wouldn't even went and looked at the Dozer if it didn't rain that day.
That's whenever it rains, everybody shows up.
Yep. So here I come rolling in there. Of course, I called Jay, and Jay said, "Yeah, it's still there." And of course, Jay's a salesman. I got 3 other people called her about it this morning.
I did literally. I think Jay was off a couple days, and I was driving to Pennsylvania to another sale, and I had this guy was all but getting ready to buy the thing.
You're this close away from that.
Well, he's waiting on me to get back. I think you come on a Monday, maybe.
I think I did Monday morning.
I literally could have sold it to this other guy, but somebody shows up there, so I'm like, I'll sell it to him. He's seen it, so. I kind of felt bad about the other guy because I talked to him I don't know how many times on the phone. So
anyways, I go
Jay
up.
didn't know about this either, and I think he done sold it to you or something too. So
I show up. I talk to Jay, and I just give Jay a hard time. He's being a salesman, so Jay's a good guy. So anyways, I go up there, and it was cold, rainy, nasty. It was not an ideal day. Go out there, Dozer fires right up, go forward, backwards, do the few things. I asked Jay, I said, has it been serviced? Yep, ran her through the shop. Everything's good. Air conditioner works as far as I know. Sounds good. And I'm guilty. I did not look the Dozer over as good as I could because I'm like, these guys, everything's top notch through here, whatever. So, of course, the first thing was I get home and the track was on backwards. And I noticed it in one of the pictures. And I called Jay up, and I wish Jay was here, but he all but told me no. I was like, man, can you switch the track around? He's like, yeah. And then
so we had new undercarriage sitting for that. We just didn't get it yet.
Should have waited. No.
I've still got the new rail. I've got 2 rails sitting there for it.
But I think I was going to accept the fact the track was backwards, and then I guess did he talk to you and then ended up changing or something?
Yeah, we swapped him around.
Because he called me back.
Did YouTube tell you it was on backwards, or did you figure it out it was on backwards?
Actually, I figured it out from the pictures.
Then YouTube.
I knew it was on backwards the day I loaded on a trailer and I took it in on trade because
I did not notice it was on backwards the day I was there.
We didn't mess with it because I figured it wouldn't sell and I was going to put new undercarriage under it. So.
Or nor did the guy buying it would actually notice it was on backwards. So
see, I took this Dozer in on trade. I think it was right before I left for Florida last year. So it kind of went in the shop, and I had another boy there working for me who don't work for me no longer. Supposedly, went through it. So
well, I mean, in Clint's defense, being a guy that has employees, it's impossible to keep tracks. I mean,
it
sometimes
is. And when you're not there, things production go down to half, and things happen.
And you can't. As much as you like to think you'd have your finger on everything they do, it's impossible to double check everything.
It is. At the end of the day, it's my name on the stuff too. So
right. So long story short, me and Jade made a deal that day. I want to make sure I get these timelines right. So me and Jay made a deal that day. I think I kind of jumped the gun a little bit on the bank because it took me about a week to get you paid. And but I did leave a deposit. I did everything the right way. So it was probably what, 3? Because it sat there for 2 weeks before I trucked it out of there.
It was a little while because I remember swapping the tracker. In fact, Hunter helped me, and it sat there a while after that. So.
Yeah, so basically from the time I bought it to the time I got it home was probably 3 weeks. And then once I got it home, I think it sat for another week before I even messed with this thing. And basically I had a Sunday afternoon.
Probably had it hid from your wife the whole time.
Well,
Don't
tell all my secrets. I'm trying to remember if I told her I bought that one or not. That's actually a good question. So, basically, I had a Sunday afternoon, and I had some work to do right there close to the house. We were getting ready to haul it out on the big job. And I thought, well, I better go run this thing just to make sure.
Right.
Because the big job was like an hour and a half from home. I'm like, I better go run this thing a little bit just to make sure we're in good shape and, just run it to make sure we're in good shape, just the technicalities. And it was a Sunday, so I go up there, and, of course, it's hotter than Hades, turn the air conditioner on, nothing.
And see, my biggest problem, I'd sold that company that traded that in, I think 3 machines. And I took their word for it. Their mechanic, I've talked to him several times, and, everything was hunky-dory.
Ready to go.
Of course, I bought it in February, January, and I asked him about it. Yeah, it was working, last time I used it. So, yeah, everything had been...
So at this point, I wasn't, like, overly concerned. I'm like, air conditioner, it's,
Little Freon.
We'll be good to go. So then I ran it for like 2 hours, and the temperature gauge is not stopping. It's like taking a hike over the mountain and going down the other side, and I'm like, oh, boy.
You made it that far?
Yeah, it was.
977
You know what was
won't
crazy?
make it that far.
I rolled in there Monday morning to pick that up from the coal mine it come from at 7 o'clock in the morning over in Illinois, and it just come off the third shift Sunday. They were literally digging the tracks out of it.
But that was in the middle of winter, though, too.
It was cold.
I think in the middle of winter, it probably would have been all right.
So I'm seeing all this thinking, well, they're running every day. It's a good,
Right,
good
right.
Yeah.
Straight off the job.
So then,
That's one
Straight
of those
off the job.
yeah. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I'm not really aggravated at all. I mean, I bought a used piece of equipment. I bought it as is. I have not even blaming these guys for anything at all at this point. And then the air filter light comes on.
You must have only had one Pepsi in the cooler is all I've
So, So at this point, I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, it's a good thing I didn't say what I was thinking to myself, because that wouldn't have been good. But I don't remember what I said on the video, but I'm like, all right, if I pull this air filter out and it's clean.
Sunday, I don't blame you.
Yeah. So if I pull this air filter out and it's clean, I'm still cool with everything. Now, if I pull this air filter out and it's a dirty wad of crap, I got a problem. And unfortunately, it was a coal mine in there.
It was.
And then, of course, from my side of things, the first thing I'm thinking is, well, crap, what else? Now I'm really concerned because, we got a final drive getting ready to go here. Is the transmission getting hot? Yada, yada, yada. And I went back and watched the video. I don't think I purposely I don't think I ever said like anything malicious. It was just my experience of what I got that day. And I know you got tore up a lot worse than it, but I got tore up too, saying, well, you bought it as is. And I said that. I bought it as is. Like, I wasn't asking for help. I was just giving you my experience of what went down that day.
They should have called us too. It was 2 months later before the video aired.
Well, so that's where I want to go with the rest of it is I fully accepted I bought the Dozer as is. It wasn't your fault. It was my fault. I went up there and looked at it. I signed the paperwork that had the sales tax on it. I signed the paperwork that had the sales tax on it, and right below the sales tax it says as is where it is. Right. Yeah, got it, Bridget.
I sell everything that way, but we're always standing behind stuff too.
So part of what the problem is here is there's a big time disconnect.
Somebody can't put their videos out on time.
I'm pretty sure the whole world knows that it's seasonal.
There's real time, and then
summer is filmed in fall. Fall is your.
I think the leaves are just falling right now.
Did I tell you, Cleveland come to work one time in the middle of August in a Carhartt? I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Filming for October."
That's funny.
Smart ass. So anyways, 2 months goes by. I mean, in real time, from the time the Dozer left your lot, it was probably close to 3 months.
It was a while, yeah.
2 months goes by. Clint thinks you're sharing pictures I post on social media. You think everything's hunky-dory and life's good. My videos are scheduled. They go up, I mean, I don't know what video's coming out next. I got them scheduled a month ahead of time. So a video post that morning, I don't think nothing of it. Video's up, and I'm working, doing my thing, not paying attention to anything in the world. And I get this phone call from Nashville, Indiana. I'm like, I kind of recognize that number. I think it's CNC Equipment. That's odd. So I answer the phone. It's Jay. He's like, I guess you know why I'm calling. No, not really. He goes, I seen your video or something about the video, and I'm thinking, oh, shit, that's the one that went up today.
About 10 people sent it to me.
And now, in full disclosure, I mean, I don't know how long you guys seen the video after it was up, but you guys didn't hesitate to call like immediately, like you weren't trying to.
I think we got emails. Is how we found out about it.
Find out about it.
People threatened to yeah, start popping through. I'm like,
The
what
YouTube
did you do?
Fan club is real when they're filling out a Google review.
Yeah, they had my back. That's 100% for sure. So Bridget was sharing with me at dinner earlier that it's probably a good thing Jay didn't call me right when he found out.
You know what really pissed Jay off was he had another 850 sold to somebody else, and they seen that and backed out that day.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the chances?
$200,000 dozer. Because Jay doesn't get mad usually.
So
He takes it very personal.
He does.
Yeah.
He really wants to make the customer.
Well, you know, that's one thing I want to be clear about is, like, I wasn't purposely trying to do anything. I was just trying to relay my experience. And I had no, like, some things you post, and Chris, you can maybe jump in on this, but sometimes you post stuff and it gets taken so far out of context from the way it was meant.
And I've filmed stuff before and be like, I sound bad. I'm just going to remove that all because it's going to get way more out of
that video was probably 50 minutes long of that new Dozer. And I probably deleted 20 minutes out of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's
just be explaining.
that was in the that was
you
in.
got to be so negative. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm like, that was in the moment. That's not necessary.
Yeah.
But you know, and if I had to go back and refilm it, I probably would have filmed the air cleaner part a little bit different. but you know, it was what it was. So, anyways, in Jay's defense, I don't know if you told Jay to call me or Jay took it upon himself to call you or what the deal was.
Whenever Jay comes out in the shop, it's usually bad. Somebody's got a problem. A lot of times I'll actually like hide from him.
It's more than a dirty air filter.
No, it's usually. But I just joke with him every time he comes out there. I'm hiding, and he's always got bad news.
Yeah. So I mean, Jay called me. I mean, I could tell he was aggravated, but he was very, very professional. He's like, Mike, that's not how we do business, and he pretty much asked me to take the video down, and I'm like, Jay, I can't do this. I mean, it's been a lead up to buying this Dozer for a while. It's a big deal on the channel. I said, I can't really do that. And he's like, well, if you have any more questions, or you have any more issues with the Dozer, he said, please let me know. I said, you're probably going to regret asking that question because we got a lot of problems.
I think that's where I got involved.
I'm going to forward you to the owner.
So, and from my side of things, I did go look at my comments, and what, like I said, I appreciate everybody having my back, but what they were doing to CNC Equipment on Google reviews and their social media stuff was not my intentions, and it was out of hand, and I genuinely felt bad about what was going on.
I wouldn't be where I was at if I was doing business like that. So.
Right. And I knew from before that's not how you guys did business. You know what I mean?
Right.
But unfortunately, the 850 was still having, well, I guess, would you call them major issues?
Yeah. I think that's why that machine may have got traded back into me.
Right.
I think it had these issues. And I took their machines in on trade before and didn't have no issues. So,
I
got, believing what those guys, and they've got different operators on them, so who knows?
So from there, that kind of started. Obviously, our relationship didn't get started off on the best foot from right there. I felt bad about what happened. I can only do so much to go back. I think I posted a short video kind of explaining that, hey, we're working on this, give them a chance. I think I did a live feed about it, kind of explaining a little bit about what was going on and what all you guys had, doing to help me. So you actually come down and pick the Dozer back up
I did. Couple, 2 or 3 times.
See, this is news to the world because the internet only knows about one time. So, but I want to cover that because I think it says a lot, and then I want to address some comments to come along with it. But after the video posted, Jay called me. I explained to him what was going on. I think you were down there the next day with a lowboy trailer, loaded this dozer up, took it back. I don't know if you worked through the damn night or what hell magic voodoo you did up there, but I had it back like 2 days later.
Yeah, I think it was at the shop for one day. Next day it was down there.
Yeah, and that was the radiator.
Pulled the radiator out, and washed it. I know you tried to clean it 2 or 3 times, but you just can't get it all.
Right.
I had a bunch of the fins bent over is what it was, too.
Wouldn't get the airflow.
There's 3 of us sitting there bending fins over with a little screwdriver.
I bet Jay was really cussing at that point.
We'll leave him the delicate part.
Clint, I called Clint. And I felt like every time I called Clint, like I had that customer before where you look at your phone and you just roll your eyes before you answer. And I knew that's what he was doing on the other end when he see my name come across.
I'm like, I hope it's good news, but I knew it wasn't.
Just make it wait till the very last ring.
Yeah.
Hello?
I can't hear you.
Make him ponder for a few seconds.
Right.
So I wish I would have remembered what Clint said, but I'm like, hey, did you have any luck with the dozer? He's like, yeah, Jay's fingers are bleeding, but I think we got it. So I think that was code for Jay's not happy, but we got it. But basically that was it was with the quick drop valve. Is that what you call it?
Under
we were having blade control issues.
I could put a new cylinder on it for you too.
Yes, because the blade was bleeding off, and the radiator, the engine was running hot. So we get the dozer back and run it for a day, and we're still having issues with the hydraulic oil.
Hydraulic was heating up
Pretty bad.
That's a problem. I can only run them so long at the freaking shop.
Right. So, Clint called and asked me how it was, and I seriously thought about lying to him and saying it's doing good just because I didn't want him to have to deal with that. But I couldn't hide it on the internet, so I'm kind of in catch-22 here, and I mean I'm feeling like
this is after you put 150 hours on it or so.
Yeah,
100 and something.
I'm feeling like this big over here because I know the position he's in. I've been in his shoes before, and I'm like, this. I hate it for him. I hate it for me. Like neither one of us asked to be in this situation, but here we are. So what we do. So I was like, oh, Clint, man, the hydraulic oil's still heating up. He's like, all right, be done more than low boy.
Next morning.
Knew
exactly where I was going.
Yeah, and that's when his dad showed up.
Operator my ass.
So Clint loads it back up, hauls up there, and he discovers his hydraulic pump was.
It was, yeah.
And we didn't film any of that.
I think that was going bad from when I probably.
And I didn't film any of this on the channel because I'm like, at this point, this is between me and Clint. We need to get this figured out. Like he's went so far above and beyond. I don't want anybody thinking that he's trying to do something here. So I wasn't trying to hide anything from anybody by not filming it, but we done covered it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So get the dozer back, and it does good for 2 jobs. And then we start having hydraulic problems again. And Clint's like, only way we're going to fix this dozer is replace it. I'm like, well, okay. So that's how the dozer got traded off. And we're obviously not going to talk numbers here, but Clint took care of me, and I definitely appreciate that. So the one thing I want to cover, and I know you got limitations, and I know you've done similar things for other people, but the most common comment out there is the only reason you help me out is because I got a YouTube channel.
That's not all true. So
no, it's not all true because
you asked Dad right before he come down here. He was trucking up and down the road twice, right, pretty close to you. So the machine we sold it wasn't right. So
yeah, and there was another customer you were telling me about in Indianapolis. You sold a dozer too. The engine went out of and made it right off the bat. So. And I, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but sometimes it's worth paying a little bit of extra money for a good piece of equipment from a reputable dealer.
And that's, we get people in there all the time. They want to beat me down on price. I'm like, that's fine, but I don't have any wiggle room if something goes bad. Even though I don't offer a warranty, there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. So, and
there's limitations to everything. You can't go out there and run something for 1,000 hours and then have something go wrong and want something out of it. But
yeah, you buy high-hour dozer, and all of a sudden.
And please correct me if I'm wrong again, but if somebody buys something that left your lot and that problem probably existed while it was on your lot, you're going to do whatever you can within reason to make it right.
For sure. You know, we had an employee problem there too, so that was well taken care of before you even bought the dozer, but I know there was some stuff.
Yeah, them lingering timelines just kind of finally eventually caught up. But I think this is what's really cool about this whole situation, and I think it's a cool lesson to be learned of how to do business on both ends of things, is obviously we could have gotten a yell and screaming match. This could have turned really ugly, really easy, but I feel like we both kind of had cool heads about it.
It's opened up different doors for sure. So.
Yeah, you know, worked our way through it, and I would consider that we've become pretty good friends. We've done a lot.
So you brought a trailer up.
I think he likes me better now.
What was funny, I cut it out of the video, but I said something to like, this is what happens when friends take advantage of you, but I cut it out of the video. I'm like, that's going to look good.
But I think
maybe you'll get a bad Google review.
The guys are just cracking up.
Driving down the road with this junk.
I have got several comments that I was taking advantage of them. I got several of those comments.
I got a lot of comments hoping I was charging
wait
your
till
arm
the
and
wife
leg.
sends the bill.
Yeah, it had sales tax on it. Let me tell you. I think she even taxed the labor.
Had a comment it too.
But no, I think it's a pretty cool lesson learned that, you know, I feel like we took a pretty crappy situation for both of us,
right,
and turned it into a pretty big positive. I mean, we've become pretty good friends. You've started a YouTube channel. I shouldn't say you started. You revived a YouTube channel that is existing. That's
always had a little one,
and become pretty. I mean, you've been kicking butt on the YouTube channel.
We're trying.
It
helped. We had we've been doing it for ever since Jay probably
I was
come
scrolling
on.
through your videos last night, and I was like, I didn't realize like 7-8 years ago.
Well, that's what I was telling you before we sat down. Is if it
wasn't for that, I wouldn't even probably attempted this whole.
So I want to point out one thing I forgot to tell you was whenever Jay asked me what I do for a living, and I was literally being a smart ass. I'm like, I'm a YouTuber, and he laughed at me, you know, like it was nothing. And
he's like, have you heard of this? I said, I've seen a couple of videos, but I don't think he's that, you know.
he's no Let's Dig. He's a nobody.
Right?
And I just every once in a while, most of the time, I'm embarrassed to say I do YouTube, but like every once in a while, I just want to get somebody's reaction, and Jay just happened to be that guy that week. You know, and I really think he thought I was lying because I didn't even take my camera with me whenever I went up there.
Right.
Like I didn't film anything when I looked at the dozer because I was in a hurry and I had several other things to do and go on.
Sometimes you just don't want to pick up a camera.
No, you just want your to look at something.
Like someday I'll go to work. I said, I don't want to mess with it today.
So, anyways, I get Jay mentioned that they had a YouTube channel. So I go home and I'm thinking I'm going to see this guy with 300 subscribers and 17 views per video, and I pull up CNC and what 1.9 million views? I'm like, where'd this guy go? Like I almost felt like he catfished me, like he was bigger than I am. You know what I mean? No.
The reason we started that because you couldn't put an actual video on eBay. We selling this equipment on eBay, so you'd have to put a
link
it.
So obviously, me and Clint got to be pretty well acquainted with our dozer issues, and. So he started asking me some questions about YouTube, and I'm like, man, you guys do some really cool stuff up here. You've already got a head start on this YouTube channel. You had like 17,000 subscribers.
14 or something, 14,000, I don't know.
Yeah, you were in the teens pretty easy. And I knew, by this time, I knew kind of what they did up there. I'm like, you potentially got a little gold
money.
Like
Dad says, if the stuff we've done over the last 20, 30 years, there's been some excellent footage, for sure.
So he had interest in it, and for whatever
it's funny because we kind of talked about it, before you even came along, but I think you helped give it the boost. So.
Yeah. So
I kind of seen what it was all about, put it that way.
Yeah. he figured out the power of YouTube in a bad way. Can I make this a positive? So anyways, yeah, I fully encouraged him to pursue it again, and he did. He started making some videos, and
we were still always doing a little short videos on equipment, but I started another channel up to get rid of, so it wasn't crowding my other channel, I guess.
Right. But you actually started doing some legit shop videos.
Right,
and some
on
builds.
that channel. I took that one over because it was already established. So.
Right. But so what, you've grown quicker than most here in a short period of time. What have you been doing at Sirius for about 6 months now?
I think so, about October or so. October, November.
So what's your impressions of being a YouTuber now? Down here at the
See, I'm not the type of guy to be talking on a camera and all that stuff. So
you're like me. You still like to be
I'm
behind
exactly
the camera.
like him.
Yeah, my wife's like, I've been married to you for 12 years and you never take a picture and now you record yourself. I'm like, they pay me. Try paying me and I'll stand still. I mean, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not.
Still a different animal,
but I mean,
it's kind of fun. I like doing it. So I like, going back at looking what you did during the day. And it's actually good because sometimes you see stuff that, hey, I didn't see that while I was working on it. Or
like a screw in a tire.
Exactly. Get 800 comments
The one
on
I
it.
told you about 2 weeks
I already knew about it, but nobody else on YouTube did.
So
boat was getting a little loose there.
Yeah, so this is, you're down here in Florida at the auctions and you've had quite a few people come up to you and meet you and recognize you. Is that
as soon
different?
As I started doing it, I did, going to auctions wherever. It's kind of crazy. So
yeah, I remember
that guy that helped out DP. I'm like, that's me.
Unfortunately.
I remember, do you remember the first time you got recognized?
No.
As a YouTuber? I remember
It happens a lot.
Yeah, I remember the first time that somebody spotted me out, and it was in a gas station in Lagodi, and it was like a 70-year-old man that like hollered at me from the back row.
It's the old people.
Yeah. And then, I was like, that's really cool.
People you don't think's watching your channel.
It really is. Like, even today is like, man, I love
most of my viewers are 55 years or older. I don't know how.
Yeah. You need to, I don't know if it's a good idea. Does your dad watch your videos?
He does.
Oh, boy.
I guess I don't know. Does he? They're still... I always tease them because they're watching DirecTV's fine, but they're always having problems with it. I said the 90s called, they want their satellite back. I walk in their motorhome, they've got cables going every which way, and they can't get the dish out because the trees are blocking it. And it's we had it up till we moved into our new house about a couple years ago, and we just got internet now. And once I quit watching the news and all that stuff, so
What's that?
I will watch YouTube most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
I got to see if you're talking bad about me. So.
Don't worry, they'll email you.
Right.
You'll know.
I like to find out first.
Yeah.
Don't
The bad
worry.
thing, your time's there. I'm at work at 7 o'clock, so your videos come out at, I guess, 7 your time.
It'll be 7 your time, 6 my
I'm
time.
already at work. I ain't got time to look at them. So.
Yeah, so it...
will ring.
So I started posting my videos in the afternoon because I just post them in the morning like you, and before I know it, I've got 5,000 comments, and they're overwhelming. So
now, in full disclosure, if I have a video that involves Clint, I send it to him for pre-approval. And apparently he needs to send it to his wife because we're missing some stuff. So the last thing real quick is, I guess, you made the mistake one day of saying you were slow in the shop. And I helped you out.
I said I was slow.
I think that was your exact words I said,
I've always got things to do.
I said, how things going up there, Clint? He's like, I need to find some stuff to buy. I'm a little slow in the shop. And conveniently,
trailer repair.
I was like, dude, I can help you out with that. I got this trailer. And I convinced him because I'm like, you know how good of videos this is going to make?
No, it made some videos.
It's a miracle. It seems like it made it there.
It wasn't that bad. It may have been played up a little bit for YouTube. I was hauling 120, 130,000 pounds on that the week before.
A little scary.
They haven't seen the...
We hauled a 850 all the way across town, and I was riding in the truck with that trailer.
Oh, the back axle.
The good news about a trailer is it's behind you, so if it crashes really bad, you don't see it or know about it.
Until you're going downhill, and then it could pass you.
What really worked was Captain Kleeman commented about the brakes actually work now.
Yeah, I'll leave it to Captain Kleeman to stir the pot.
It's like you have to wait on the air to build up now because the brakes have to release.
But have you been enjoying YouTube since you've been doing it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, say, some days I come in here and I don't, we're not in the mood to film.
Not a priority. Right. I do the same thing.
And some days it's, everybody's got to be in the mood to do it. So.
Right. And my suggestion, Chris, jump in here if you want, is you don't want to force it because people know it.
No. Some days it just won't meant to be.
Yeah. If you're not in the mood to film that day, don't film.
I filmed a lot of stuff and you started videos and you never finished them because it just wasn't right. So.
Right. So what's the future for CNC equipment? You're going to keep going and building down the road you are?
I'd say, as long as we can buy some equipment.
Auction prices will quit being retail prices.
Yeah.
All these guys taking advantage of me.
We could probably just one.
Look at the bright side.
Just one as of now.
if you can't work on your equipment, you can watch me struggle to work on it. So
at least you're far.
You're doing
enough
it wrong.
At least you're far enough away.
Chris bought that. I guess technically, from a paperwork standpoint, Chris has bought the dozer from CNC
I've not even
Equipment.
bought it yet. I've not even paid for it. So
I said, you know what happened last time you sold a dozer to a YouTuber, right? This did not go well. So hopefully
he was like, you should put a sticker on it there. He's like, no, I have no part of this one. He's like, I didn't even buy it.
he's like, let's let it run for 6 weeks and see how this goes.
I'll send you some in the mail afterwards.
Ain't even got it home. Got a cylinder leaking.
What?
Would you believe?
I thought you said it was job site. What that auctioneer kept saying on that Okamatsu
That thing is job ready.
site
Just
ready.
come off the job.
Just come off the job. That's
Got
what
the
it was.
bucket 12 inches off the ground and died.
Drove in place.
I don't know what job they were using, but it must
Runs the
have
best.
been a paperwork job or paperweight job. It was bad. So, but yeah. So where can Clint find? Or I guess everybody can find you on Facebook, Instagram.
Yep, all those places. I think CNC Equipment or CC Equipment on Instagram. So
Yep,
our
we
YouTube
will.
channel CNC Equipment. So
We'll do the best we can to link all that stuff in the description. So if anybody wants to find you, they can. Appreciate you taking the time to
yeah, no problem. It's fun. So
sit down, and I'm sure there's plenty more topics we can maybe cover in some future ones. And you're an excellent co-host there.
Good
Mr.
fill in.
I've done my best
Yes,
here.
yes,
I've just enjoyed the golf cart ride with your father this past week. It's been a
him
pleasure.
in here one time, you'll have a heck of a podcast.
I don't know I don't know if it'll be appropriate for anything, but it'd be a good conversation. So, but yeah, Clint, man, thanks for sitting down. Thanks for everything. Thanks for everything you've done for me. I truly do appreciate it. I know you do it for any customer, but you went above and beyond, and you've become a good friend. It's been fun.
You never know where it's going to take you.
Yep, no idea. So
that is an understatement.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. This YouTube social media world, and I mean, even you, for example, it's been fun. It's crazy. It's a crazy ride. So, but appreciate everything. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we're gonna wrap it up and catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.
See you.
See you.